What's good, y'all? If you tapped in, you already know who I am. If not, my name is Caleb Jarrell, and we back with another video. So today we got a hot taper with wavelength on the top, and I'm on my client today. He just got back from the army, so he came to stop by and get it cut and everything. So as y'all can see right now, I'm just combing the canvas out, getting everything to a visible point of view or whatever that I can see. And I'm gonna cut everything down with a 1 guard. I went straight in with the 1 guard because this is a client that was a regular before he left for the army. So I pretty much already know where he want to go with his haircut and how it grows and growth patterns and everything. So like I said, we just cutting the top down right now with the 1 guard. Alright, so after I get through cutting the top down and everything, I'm going straight to putting my first guideline in. So I'm starting in the back, and I normally start around the bottom of the ears, and then you just kind of come up and clean everything up under that. And I'm gonna also do the same thing on the sides. Me personally, I like to clean everything up as much as possible, get everything as far as the bulk and the unwanted hair that's under that line, just pretty much go on and bald it out. So like I said, I'm doing the same thing on the sides. I'm starting at the top of the ear because he's doing a high taper. If I was doing a lower taper, then I would pretty much just do everything lower and not start off with such a high guideline. And like I said, we doing the same thing on the side. So if y'all wondering what clippers I'm using some Babyliss clippers, the Unlimited Edition. Shout out to my girl for getting them. Yeah, I found a female that's gonna invest in you and your craft. So boom, right here, we cutting the hair down with the 1 guard. Just cleaning up some bulk around the ear and around the parts that I'm finna fade out. So right now I got the clipper all the way open, which is gonna be equivalent to a half. And that's gonna make my second guideline. So the first guideline is about to get blended out, which is gonna be with the half and then closing the clipper halfway and then all the way closed. So you gotta take out that first guideline that we made with the trimmers. You just flick under the line and flick right up above it, and that'll eventually take that line out for you. And like I said in my first tutorial, once you get used to like a fading system, then you'll start to understand it's pretty much the same thing in every haircut. It's just different textures and different growth patterns that you have to deal with. So fading is really just like math. So if you know how to do math and numbers, then you'll learn how to fade eventually the more you do it. So with my 1 guard, I have it all the way open, which should be around a 1.5, and that is going to fade into a 2. So later on, you'll see me come up with my 2 guard and blend it out. As y'all see, I just put the 2 guard on, and it's not gonna cut much, but that'll at least blend that side into the top length like I needed to. And the reason I say it's pretty much like math is because if you take all the guards off and you just have the clipper all the way open is gonna be a half. It being all the way closed would be a 0. So whatever guards you add on to that, whatever number it is, you just add a half or add a 0. So right here I have my 1.5 guard on. So with the clipper being a half all the way open and then the 1.5 guard, 1.5 plus half is what? 2. So that's how it is. You're fading numbers into each other. And I just went 1.5. So I'm down fading right now from a 2 to 1.5. And I put my 1 guard back on just to detail a little bit more with the 1.5. And then I'm going to close it up and make it a 1 guard, a true 1, which is going to take off a little bit more from that second guideline, that second line that you see right by his ear. That's the line I'm about to fade out with my half guard, and then eventually just taking my clippers and detailing with it. And I don't know if it's just me and my preference, but with me having a half guard from Babyliss, I always feel like eventually like it's gonna pop off because it always seemed like it's not as durable or something. So just a heads up, if you're using a Babyliss clipper or a Babyliss half guard, just be mindful that it can pop off. And I would probably look into getting a different half guard, which is something that I'll eventually do. But I've been doing pretty decent as far as if it do pop off, pulling out, no pun intended. But you feel me? So we got the half guard off of there, and I'm just detailing with my clipper all the way open. And like I said, we're attacking that second line that I put in, that second guideline by his ear. And pretty much just cleaning it up, taking it out, fading it. And I don't necessarily feel like I take guidelines completely out all the time. A lot of times I like to line up and then go back in detail. So right now we got the back taper going. So at the back, you want to pretty much do the same thing. Me personally, when it comes to length and guidelines, I like to kind of use my comb. Y'all see the thickness of the comb? That's about the length that I normally go up on most of my fades, unless it's just some tapers or some canvases or head shapes that I may need to go up a little bit more or less. Then I kind of modify it. But normally that's kind of like my guideline length is if you were to put the comb right at the end of the guideline that you just put in, then that next guideline you put in would be measured by you putting your comb kind of by it. So that's what I say. A lot of people may say like an inch or a finger length, but I normally like to use my comb personally. And like I said, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going all the way open with the clipper. Then I'm gonna clean up the bottom guideline, going halfway and then close. Right here, I'm knocking it down some more with my 1 guard just to get that bulk and lay it down some more. Then I'm gonna put my 1 guard on, flip it over, go up about another inch or finger length or measure with your comb, however you wanna do it. I'm gonna go to my 2 guard to get the extra bulk off the top, then down fade from the 2 to the 1.5 to the 1 to the half guard, and then detail with my clippers open, halfway close. And that's how I do majority of my fades. Like, it's really just rinse and repeat for everything. Sometimes the numbers will change depending on the hair length or the texture and everything, but I wouldn't stress about that. You'll figure it out as you go. That's one thing I will say I've learned about life. Like, I just turned 21 on the 17th of December, so it's a lot of things that I just look back on as far as, like, even with me graduating high school and going straight to barber school. It's like I didn't necessarily know how to do everything or know certain ways or things to get into to get me in the position that I'm in now. And I'm not saying like I'm in a better position than anybody else, but I'm in a position to where I got things going for myself. I have a vision, I have ambition and different things like that. So it's like, you may not know everything, but if you just jump into doing some things and stick with it, you'll understand that like consistency and discipline will take you far in life. You working on your hustle, you working on your craft. So you may not have the answers for everything, but a lot of times you'll learn and figure things out as you go. So that's my advice to you. And if y'all see me going back in between guards and different things, that's just me detailing. I'm still doing the same process as far as like the numbers that I'm going through with my fade, but it's like I'm somebody I detail a lot. So if I see something, I have to hit it. I don't care what nobody say as far as like barbers and other barbers that have things to say about people taking a long time and different things. This was like a 35 minute haircut, and it still wasn't like something that was just lengthy. It was something where I still knew how to fade his hair. I still took my time. I wasn't rushing. Nothing was done like in a rush at all. I just personally like to go back and detail in between or whenever I feel like I need to detail. So it's a lot of people now that like you'll start to learn about as far as like social media and everything that critique different barbers for doing certain things. I don't critique nobody. People that really focus on what they got going and their main focus is getting better themselves, they barely have time to critique a lot of people. So it's love and hate in the industry. You got people that's gonna try to critique and talk about you, which I'm never against constructive criticism, but it's not one way to skin a cat like people say. So I feel like however people get the job done and however long it take them to, as long as they get it done and the customer is satisfied and you leave satisfied and different things like that and you're taken care of, then I feel like you should just keep working on yourself and focus on your goals and what it is that you want to do. So as y'all can see, I pretty much started the lineup already, but I wanted to give y'all like a visual of half of the hairline that was already done and then the other half. So on his hairline, he has a good hairline for sure. But the thing is, it's like most people may push that corner back, and it looks like that may be what they was doing wherever he was getting his hair cut for the army. And it's only because it's a little bit lighter and that darkness that you're looking for, it looks like you may or should push it back, which you don't have to, because as y'all will see, I'm going to line it up and keep it down as far as possible. But we're going to box the corner and keep it straight instead of pushing it back to give it like that U shape. And he also does do enhancements, so he'll really have that dark look with it, but it'll still look natural and everything before I even put the enhancements and stuff on there. Alright, so boom, that's what we looking like after putting the enhancements on. And I don't like to spray too heavy with my enhancements. I like to try to keep it natural, but still give it that dark look, that still make everything pop and everything. So I'm just going back in, touching and detailing everything to my liking and to his liking. I like to box my corners and try to make everything look as straight as possible if they have that type of lineup. But as far as like just detailing everything, it's just my preference on how I do everything, which is nothing about extra 5, maybe 10 minutes. So like I said, right here I'm just detailing, and I know I look like I just freehand with my clipper really, and I do sometimes, but normally I use like the back hand of my pinky or the back part of my hand and pinky to kind of get that stability to make sure I don't really too much go down into the hair. But all I was doing was just cleaning up like some stray hairs that was sticking up and making it lay down as much as possible. So I'm just cleaning up the mustache and the facial hair like you wanted it. But as y'all can see, this is pretty much the end of the cut. So let me know how y'all feel about it. Let me know what y'all think about it. Anything else that y'all might want to see. I'm gonna try to get more better with making these videos and doing more and being more consistent and everything. But as long as y'all learn something, then that means my job was done. So everybody not gonna cut the same. Everybody not gonna do everything the same. But as long as you're making a living and taking care of the things that you got going on, then you should be straight. And just be consistent, be disciplined, do everything to a T. How you do anything is how you do everything. So whether it's when you're working out, whether it's when you're working at your 9 to 5, any of that, make sure you try to do it to your best, and it'll all play a part into how you take your cutting and your barbering and everything serious. Like the way that you work at these 9 to 5s or any other job that you may have, just don't take none of that for granted, bro. I mean, I was somebody I couldn't even get hired. So that was another reason why I ended up getting into barber school, because it was a trade that I just saw myself kind of getting after a while, since a lot of people were kind of rocking with my cuts and everything at the time, and I just took it serious. And a year and a half, 2 years later, I'm full-time working on myself, working in my own shop, basically running everything how I want to run it. So you feel me? You can just take a year and grind and focus on the goals that you want to hit and stay consistent with it. And over the course of time, you'll get better as far as like whatever it is that you want to do.